but if you think about it, it's also technique or skill that you can use for your everyday life. Because where I'm from, we hunt and harvest for our food. I'm 24 years old. I have been competing in these games since the 4th grade. There are different games out there. They're not based off of like being physical. It's all about technique. So for example, the game that we did earlier, the Indian stick pull, that is all based off of technique. And that represents pulling a slippery, slimy salmon out of the fish. And so you gotta figure out how to place your fingers to catch that fish so it doesn't get away. It's all the knowledge that you gain based off of the land and your elders and people. I'm Yupik, which is located in the Kuskokwim, Lower Kuskokwim area in the southwestern part of Alaska, but I currently live on Tlingit land, which is in the southeast region. My grandmother, she was forced into an orphanage home, and that orphanage home was run by missionaries from the lower 48, and they basically were forcing my grandmother to not speak her language. She would get severe punishment if they did hear her speak her language, and they were enforcing the Western society of whale life into her that she was not familiar from, and so that caused a lot of trauma to her. And then as she grew up, she got into alcohol. So there are many of us who are dealing with multi-generational trauma. But I feel that I'm going to be the one who's going to break that cycle to not make sure that trauma does not repeat itself. Because over the years in the past, you have seen stigma towards being Indigenous. For example, there have been moments where I walked into a space where it felt wrong for me to be Indigenous, and that I wasn't like white enough, like I wasn't living the white lifestyle perfectly, so there was really no in between for me, so I always felt out of place. And to see that here in a different way, like to be proud to be Indigenous, it's very emotional for me in a good way to see our younger generations here who are engaging with the games, who are engaging with the traditional dancing. That yesterday, that was a very strong performance with the Wainwright dance group. So it's really good to see little ones who are learning how to drum, who are learning how to sing in the language, and who are doing all this with no shame.